All right, time to dive into the topic at hand. So this week, we want to talk about your to-do list, what can often be the dreaded to-do list. And we want to turn your to-do list into a ta-da list. Ta-da! Knocking, crossing things off like a boss. So let's talk about some strategies and some tactics that you can use to handle and tackle your to-do list so much easier than maybe you have been. So many of us have this kind of running to-do list where it just feels like we can never get to the end of it. And let's be real, you're probably never going to get to the end of it. Just because there's always things that come up every day, things that you want to do or things that you want to follow up on or dreams that you have, goals, reminders, whatever it is, however you use your to-do list. So I'm going to share a bit about how I use my lists for like peak productivity. It's always a work in progress for me. But I've been using some strategies that my business coach taught me a few months ago. I've been using some of those strategies and am noticing what a significant difference in how much I get done. So I have always used like a master to-do list. So I have a running list in this one location, this one document where I just write down everything and anything that comes to mind. Like, oh, that's right, I have to do that. I have to do this. So I keep everything on that master to-do list. Then I work off of that master to-do list, meaning, I don't work off of it, but I plan off of it. So I have that master to-do list. Then I will use that as my reference point when I'm planning my week. So I have the master to-do list. Then on Sunday nights, I look at that list, add to it if anything is on my mind that's not on the list, and then I pick the things that are really priority for the upcoming week. And once I've identified what it is I know I want to or need to get done that week, I'll then pick from that smaller list now. So on my master to-do list document, I'll now section out those items that I want to work on that week that feel important, that feel like they're a priority. So now when I have that week's to-dos kind of chunked out, I then look at and go, okay, what do I want to work on tomorrow, meaning Monday, right? So what are just my Monday tasks? And I'll pick what those tasks are. To help me be realistic in my Monday tasks or any daily tasks, I try to estimate how long each thing will take me. So, as you all know, I work in Palm rounds. I do the Pomodoro technique, which is just a time management or like a structuring tool where you choose a task, set aside 25 minutes, and work on the task for 25 minutes. So when you hear me say a Palm round, I'm talking about a 25-minute round. So I'll look at my tasks for Monday, and I'll think, okay, what do I have to get done on Monday, or what is a real priority for Monday? And I'll estimate how many Palm rounds each of those tasks would take me. And I like to limit myself each day to a certain number of hours because realistically, you can say that you have all day to get something done. You're not going to work on it all day. You just don't have the bandwidth. Nobody does. So you want to be realistic. So I try to look at things that are going to take me in total between 4 and 5 hours a day. That's kind of my threshold. That's my window. So that's 8 to 10 Palm rounds, right? Because every Palm round is 25 minutes, so I say 2 is an hour for easy math. So 4 to 5 hours a day is what I plan on, because inevitably some stuff takes a little bit longer than you think, some stuff goes faster, you get interruptions that were unexpected. So I'm not going to load up my day with 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours worth of tasks. Nobody has that kind of bandwidth to be really productive. So I choose those items for Monday, and then Monday night I do the same thing for Tuesday, Tuesday night same thing for Wednesday, and so forth. The other key thing I do now on Sunday is I identify what my game changer would be for that week. So if all of my plans went to hell and exploded, if I got this one thing done this week, it would really be a game changer for me. It would be something that really moves me toward my goals being accomplished. And I identify what that one thing is. So for instance, I'll give you an example. So last week, as I was doing my planning. My game changer for last week was to get this article written that was due. I wrote an article for the Mind Body Green website about clutter and about my new book. So that was going to be my game changer because I knew, first of all, it was due. I wanted to get it in a couple days early. As a former editor for a magazine, I know how frustrating it is for writers to turn in things late. So throughout all of my writing, anytime I have a deadline, for an external source, my publisher or a magazine or a blog, I always try to turn it in at least 1 to 2 days, about 2 days early. It's that whole under promise over deliver thing, right? People remember you for that. So I knew that my game changer would be getting that article done by Friday, even though it's not due till tomorrow. And I did. I got it in. So while some other daily plans didn't go as I had hoped, I got my game changer done, and I still got a lot done. I noticed for sure that when I do that kind of planning, I get so much more done. And because otherwise I spend so much time during my day going, okay, what's next? What do I need to work on next? And you wouldn't believe how much time that eats up as I'm like, oh, let me check my email and see if what else is a priority. And then I get lost in the rabbit hole of email and, looking at funny videos or, responding to things that aren't a priority or checking out some sales online. It totally sidetracks me. Now when I do this kind of planning, the minute I find myself going, okay, what do I need to work on next? I have a plan for that day to look at. A specific list I can look at for that particular day. I even go as far as, when I remember to, actually scheduling it into my calendar. Now, as a coach, I live by my calendar because I look and see when do I have client calls, when do I have meetings and appointments, etc. So I'm looking at my calendar every day. So that's a really good place for me to schedule the tasks I want to get done that day. So I will literally go into my calendar. Let me see if I can find an example here. So last Thursday as an example. I can't show it because Facebook Live. Or last Wednesday. Last Wednesday looks like a pretty full day because in my calendar it's it starts off with a client call, so I have that listed, and then right after that it says breakfast and shower. So I know that's my time, have some breakfast, go take a shower. Then I have another client call. Then after that client call, I'm going to do 2 palm rounds on that article that I wanted to get done by the end of the week. Then I'm going to have lunch. Then I'm going to come back and do 2 more palm rounds on that article. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to have a little 15-minute window, get up, stretch my legs, step outside, etc. And then I had some personal appointments in the evening that I put in my calendar. So while on one hand I can look at that day and go, holy shit, that looks like a really busy day, when I look at what I wrote in there though, I really had 1, 2, 3 hours worth of work scheduled. Now that's not to say I had a chunk of time for email, which was another palm round. So 3.5 hours of work scheduled on Wednesday. So I can look at the calendar and it can look like a really busy day, but it's productive because I'm very specific on what I'm going to spend my time on and when. And I find that this is most helpful when you're feeling really overwhelmed, when you just feel like you have way too many, you're spinning too many plates, you got too many balls in the air, whatever metaphor you want to use. When it's that busy, that is when you will be your least productive without planning. So you really want to think about, what are my priorities? And so I'm going to talk a little bit about how to even evaluate that, because we spend a lot of time on things that we don't even really need to be doing that aren't a priority. Let me just take a sip. Sarah, thanks for the great tip. You're welcome. I love how specific your examples are to show how effective this strategy is. Thanks, Sarah. It really is super helpful. And I'll tell you, because I'm still working on making it a habit, when I forget to, this week, it's only Monday. I wasn't as great at planning my day this week, today. I just forgot to do it my routine last night, so I will do it tonight for the rest of the week. I certainly was productive today, not as productive I could have been. Like, literally, I was in the shower today and I remembered something like, oh my God, I'm supposed to do that today. Had I planned my day, I likely wouldn't have forgotten that because it's on my master list. I just needed to pull it off and put it into the day. And so it really is so helpful when you remember to plan. Yeah, Sarah says guilty. Yeah, when you remember to plan, man, what a difference it makes. It really does. So before you even start planning, so to kind of make your master list less overwhelming, you want to get in the habit of evaluating it. So when I look at my master list, I'm just going to look at it here. And again, as I've mentioned before, I use workflowy.com. It's a very basic list website. I just like it because it like syncs with my phone. And it really is just a list. I can bullet point things. Let me see, I'll try to pick this up so you can just get a look at. This is how basic the site is. There we go. See? So it's literally just black text on a white screen. But I like it because you can click and drag and you can rearrange some things. You can, indent, bullet some things. So I find it helpful. So that's my master list there. And so what I try to do and what I encourage you to do is to occasionally evaluate your master list. Make sure that it is even still, that the items on there are even still relevant. So many times we can, thanks Melissa for sharing that site. It's totally free to use. I mean, there's a premium version, but I don't need it. You probably don't need it. But I guarantee you there are things on your to-do list that don't need to be there. And actually, as I'm saying that, I'm going to back up one more step. If you're someone who keeps your to-do list in your head, write it down. Write it down. Let that be your first step. Empty your brain. You've likely heard me say this before if you've joined me on my Monday night live sessions. Your brain is meant to be a computer and not a container. So many of us use it as a container. We try to hold so much stuff in our brain, and then we wonder why we can't think straight, or we can't get things done, or we can't focus. And it's because you're asking your brain to work as a container. That's not what it's for. It's just like a hard drive on the computer. The more you load it up, the slower it's gonna work. So if you either keep your entire to-do list in your head, or you have any to-dos currently in your mind, jot them down, capture them somewhere, either on your workflowy document, on a notepad. It doesn't matter. Just get it up and out of your head. That clutter clearing of your head, you will feel an immediate difference. You will immediately feel clearer, feel less overwhelmed, less stressed. Once you get it up and out of your body and onto the page, it is amazing the difference. And that to-do list can be anything. Like, my master list will be like reminders of gifts I need to purchase, or phone calls I need to make, or it can be personal errands, work-related, family-related. It doesn't matter. Like, you can put anything down there, just get it up and out of your head. So then once you have your to-do list up and out of your head and on a page somewhere, you want to just regularly evaluate it. And when I say regularly, I probably do mine every couple weeks. So I'll go on to my list, and because sometimes when I have like a business idea, I'll just throw it down there so I capture it. Doesn't always mean it's a good idea. So I'll go back and evaluate and go, what the hell was I thinking when I put that down there? And I'll delete it. So like when I'm looking on my master list here, I have reminders of resources that I have acquired that I haven't read yet, to read them. Ideas for things I want to add to my website at some point in the future. There's all sorts of, a lot of this stuff that I'm looking at for me are business related, but there's some personal stuff on here too about, remember to call your health insurance about this kind of thing, or, submit your, my cat's medical bills to my cat health insurance. So there's stuff on here that's personal, that's business related, respond to this person's post on Facebook because I haven't done that yet. It really can be anything, but I will evaluate my list, and I will evaluate it from a few different angles. First things first is I'll look at it and go, what is on this list that really doesn't need to be? That really isn't a to-do, but I'm making it a to-do. The example I always use with people is if you have a to-do list of, go through my magazines. If you have a stack of magazines that you've had in your house for 6 months or whatever, just recycle them or bring them to a library, a gym, a doctor's office, wherever. Going through your magazines before recycling them isn't truly a to-do. I mean, it can be if it's really important to you, but if the magazine's 6 months old, might as well just get rid of it, right? So look at your list and see what is truly a priority and what's not. Hey, Penny, thanks for stopping in to say hi. Make sure I'm not missing anyone else here. If you have any thoughts, questions, or anything about what I'm saying, please feel free to go ahead and comment. Again, if you think this is helpful, please share it, like it, heart it, laugh at it, whatever those emojis are. Get some interaction going. I'd really appreciate it. So yeah, go through your list first and decide what on this list doesn't even need to be there. That's the first. After you've clutter cleared your brain and you've emptied your brain onto the page, now I want you to clutter clear your to-do list and decide this doesn't even need to be on here. Like, just get rid of it. So what on that list can you trash? Can you just chuck? It's like it doesn't need to be on there. Now you've pared your list down to things that, at least right now, you believe really need to be done. So now you have this list of things that you want to do. Now look at the list and decide what on this list can absolutely only I do. So what is it that no one else could do for me, even from a hypothetical standpoint? So I look at the list and I'm like, okay, no one can go to the dentist for me. Unfortunately, I've got to go myself. No one can do these Facebook Lives for me. Not that I would want them to, because I love connecting with you all. But like looking on the list and going, okay, no one could do that for me. And I identify those as such, like, oh, okay, no one can do that. And sometimes I'll put little notes next to them, but really what I try to do is identify on here what is something that someone else could do for me. It might not mean that you delegate it out, but why not get in the habit of identifying what someone else could do for you? So for instance, an example would be the graphics that are created for my Facebook Live. I currently do them. Could I have someone else do them? Yes. I don't mind doing it. It's quick and easy. I've got a template. I change the topic. That's that. But that's an example of something that's on my to-do list that I could have someone else do. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, look and see, is everything on your list something you have to do, or is there anything that someone else could do for you? Like right now, I am developing a list. Because my book's coming out in a couple weeks, I have a lot to do over the next couple weeks to really prepare for that. So right now I'm trying to go through my book launch list that I have and decide what are some things that I could ask for some help on, and who are the people I could ask for that help from. So I've identified a few friends on my list who I know, I guess would do things to my standards, or are even capable of doing the types of things I might need help with. I have a list that I'm going to be reaching out to friends and family to ask for their help in getting people to attend my book talks at the bookstores that I've lined up. So I go down my list, and instead of looking at my list going, okay, advertise and promote this and create designs for that, I look and see what is it that someone else could do, and then take it even one step further. Who could do that for me? Who might I ask to do that? And again, lots of tricky things come up here for people. Either they have trouble asking for help, or they think to delegate it means to hire someone and maybe you don't have the budget for it. You can come up with all sorts of creative ways to get help. Actually, here's a perfect example. So tomorrow you'll see on my Facebook page that I will be releasing a book trailer video. So it's a video I created that, how people do like movie trailers, right? Well, this is a trailer for my book. I decided to create one. So I recorded a video of myself talking about the book. And I thought, okay, I don't just want it to be a talking head video. I want there to be just a couple simple graphics to go with it, maybe some soft background music. And I thought, okay, who could I get to do that for me? Do I know anyone offhand? No. So there's this great website called Simbi, SIMBI.com. So Simbi.com is a website where you can trade services with people, or you can offer services, you can get paid in Simbis, and then you can accumulate them to spend elsewhere. So it's a symbiotic relationship, right? Get it? Symbiotic, Simbi. So I went on there. I had some Simbi dollars, or whatever they call them, in my bank, because I had done, I have a few services on there that I offer so I can accumulate Simbis. I had some in my bank. I found a video editor on Simbi, and I said, hey, I have this, 3.5-minute video that I need, just kind of produced. I need some images, my book in there, etc., etc. And this guy turned it around in less than 24 hours, and I just paid him out of my Simbi account. So I really didn't pay any money at all. I didn't pay any money, period, actually. We did it as an exchange. So because I had some Simbis in my account, I paid him through Simbis. And I got those Simbis just from different things, like when you sign up, if you connect your Facebook and Twitter, they give you a couple Simbis. If you do some silly services, they give you, there's ways to accumulate Simbi points or Simbi dollars. I'm not really even sure what they call them. But I was able to get that done easily. And then I just wrote someone today, I don't think I've heard back from her yet, but I want to make sure that my video has closed captioning, because I want it to be as accessible to everyone as possible. And that's it's time consuming. It's certainly something I could do. I researched how to do that, but it's just time consuming. So I thought, well, here's a person on Simbi who was willing to create that unique file that you need to make subtitles on your video. And I thought, well, you know what? I'll see if she wants to do it, for, I don't know, 50 or 60 Simbi. I love that website. So that's an idea when you're looking at things, particularly those kinds of things. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff on there. I mean, you can get tarot card readings, you can get a joke of the day. It's fun to even just check out. So check out Simbi.com. Melissa put a link right in the comments there. So when you think about what could I delegate out to other people, it doesn't always mean that you have to necessarily hire someone for money. If you don't have the budget for it, you can come up with creative ways. I think we can all get better at asking for help, so ask friends and family. They can say no. They're big boys and girls, so if they're not able to do it, they don't have the time, whatever, they can say no. So think about who can help you with these items on your to-do list. This whole process is how we make your to-do list a to-do list. We make it not so overwhelming and daunting, and instead we make it just a working document to help you move toward your dreams. So I'm going to pause there, take a sip, and I want to hear what you all think about some of this approach. Mary, a friend uses microwave timer for her segments so she doesn't have to track and store time in her head. Small thing that helps. Yeah, I love that. I use Alexa. I say, Alexa, set a timer for 25 minutes.
25 minutes, starting now.
Alexa, cancel timer.
25-minute timer canceled.
So that's kind of nice. But before that, I would use my phone. I would set a timer for 25 minutes. But yeah, don't try to keep it in your head, because you're right, Mary. That would clutter up your brain if you're constantly looking at the clock trying to figure out how long it's been. So 25-minute timers, however you do it. That's what the whole Pomodoro technique is based off of. Pomodoro in Italian means tomato. And so on the website, if you go to the website, you'll see that there's like a little kitchen timer that looks like a tomato. That's where the name comes from, and you're welcome for the trivia. Okay. Yes, I will absolutely post the video. It's actually scheduled to be posted tomorrow on my Facebook page. I chose to do it tomorrow because it'll be 2 weeks before the book launches. And yes, so yes, Sarah, Siri helps too. Siri's another great example. You can just, like on my phone, I can just go, hey Siri. Of course, now she's probably going to respond. Okay, no, good. I have it set up with voice control that I can just say, hey Siri. And it'll launch. I changed mine to a British male voice just because it's more fun. But he'll launch when I say that. So if I'm driving, I'll say, hey Siri, text Melissa. And it'll say, okay, texting Melissa, so what would you like to say to Melissa? And then I'll say it, it'll type it, and they'll say, would you like to send? Yes. So I can do it all hands-free, safe, etc. Yeah, so Siri's great. Sarah, absolutely right. You can do that same thing. Siri set a timer. Yeah. All right, let me make sure I've hit all my key points with planning. And please go ahead and ask any questions you have about planning for productivity in the comments section, like how to manage the clutter that can be a to-do list. So, yep, we've got the master list that we work off of. The hot list, as I call it, that's my daily list. I call it my hot list. Those are the things that have to get done. Oh, this is the other thing I want to say. When you choose the items to get done each day, and remember I talked about planning about how long you think it's going to take to get those things done. If you look at one of your tasks and you go, oh my God, well that's going to take me 2 days, then it's too big. You've got to break it down. So you want to make sure to break things down on your to-do list. So I don't have things like, create a book trailer on my to-do list. I have that, but then I have the bullet points underneath, like draft a script, schedule a time to shoot it, schedule 4 palm rounds, give yourself plenty of time. Because certainly what Melissa and I learned in shooting the video is that a 3-minute video can take friggin' hours. Oh my God, you know what I should put up? There's a video of me. Oh, I hate that I can't post video. Oh, I guess I can't post video in video. But there's a video of me, I'm going red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, which is a mouth warming up exercise that actors will use. You really need to do that, man, because otherwise you just stumble your words no matter how much you try to be clear. Yeah, so I don't just put, record book trailer video. I'll put that on the to-do list, but again, I will break it down into smaller tasks that can be handled in 1, 2, maybe 4 palm rounds. So if you're planning your day and you think, wow, that task is going to take a really long time, you need to break it down. Otherwise, your likelihood of getting it done is very low. You got to set yourself up for success by breaking it down into really small chunks, so you can get it done. Okay. All right, I think I've hit everything here. Anyone else have any thoughts or questions? Sarah, once I have my to-do list done, what is a strategy to release the thoughts of things that don't need to be done that day? It's a good question. What I find helpful, Sarah, is when I schedule things for that particular day, there are times during that day that my mind will wander to a different task that's not on the list, and it's really just a practice of pulling myself back, going, nope, that's for another day this week. These are the priorities for today. So it's a practice in learning to trust yourself that you have chosen the important tasks for that day. So the other tempting thing is, if your tasks for the day go more smoothly than planned and you find yourself done, then it can be tempting to jump on something else. That's okay sometimes, but I would want you to make sure you give yourself a big break beforehand. So don't go jumping right into something else, because it's important for your resistance to know that you will keep your word about breaks. If he or she thinks that you've got to go task to task to task and there's never a light at the end of the tunnel, that's when the temper tantrum comes up. So think about, when you finish, if you finish your tasks for the day, take a break, like a 30-minute break. My business coach calls it a savor, like do something savory. Now have like a favorite cup of tea, or go for a walk, or something that treats you so you can feel rewarded, again, to keep your resistance on board. Yeah. Kathy, so excited to know about Simbi. Yeah, it's really great. And also to hear the precise example of your day. What do you do if you get sidetracked by something unavoidable or unexpected? Do you just transfer the tasks into the rest of the week? Yeah, that it happens, Kathy, right? Like inevitably, something will often happen to sidetrack you, or if you're really good at procrastinating and distracting yourself like I am, you will find something that's really urgent that suddenly you want to sidetrack yourself with. But yes, if I get sidetracked by something unavoidable or unexpected, if it's something major, so like yesterday would be a good example. Yesterday, although it was Sunday, I had put aside that time to work. I just have a lot to do over the next couple weeks. And so I had my schedule for the day, my ideas of what I wanted to get done. And then an unexpected appointment came up that Melissa and I had to run out to. And that, it took up a good 90 minutes that was not planned for my day. And so, I just went, you know what, life happens, right? So I came back home. I looked at what tasks I had remaining for that day, and I made sure that I focused on the priority for that day, and got that done. And yes, the other tasks just got carried over. So that brings up another important point, actually, Kathy. When you schedule your tasks for the day, I prioritize them. So if I schedule 3, 4, or 5 tasks for the day, however many it is, I then prioritize those tasks. Like, okay, so here are these 5 things. This one's first, then this one's second, third, fourth, and fifth. So should I get interrupted or sidetracked by something unexpected, I know what my priorities are within that day's tasks. So that's an important aspect of my planning too that I didn't mention. So thanks for the question. So you do your weekly planning on Sunday. I mean, it might be 15 minutes, 20 minutes to just throw down on your master list what you want to get done that week, or if it's already on your master list, to parse it out, put it on its own little section. This is my to-do list for this week, and then plan for your Monday. Again, I tend to do it the night before. Some people like to do it the morning of. As I've mentioned before, I'm not a morning person, so I'm much more of a night person, so I will plan my today. Some people like to get up and maybe in the morning with their morning coffee or tea, they might plan their day. I get more restful sleep knowing that I already have my agenda lined up for the next day, that I don't have to spend any time. In the morning, I would be one who would tend to get lost in email and whatnot and not pay attention to my planning. So I like to plan the night before, then I get up in the morning and I can start following it right away. After I allow myself to wake up and stuff. So when you plan your daily tasks, make sure you prioritize them. I will literally just write numbers on the side. It'll just say like 1 with a circle, 2 with a circle, etc. And I will prioritize my tasks for the day. So on the chance that I get sidetracked, I can just go back to my priorities. So Sarah's with me on the night before. I'm just more of a nighttime person. I actually think more clearly at night than I do in the morning. All right. Anyone else have any questions or thoughts around planning and scheduling? I really encourage you to give this a shot. Go ahead and type your comments or any questions in the comments string below the video. And I'll keep an eye out for it as I say my goodbyes. Thank you all so much again for joining me. I hope you found this helpful. Any suggestions for future topics, please let me know. This was a suggestion of Sarah's from last week, and I think maybe Kathy as well, but definitely Sarah had asked about this topic last week. So I often talk about what I wrote about in my newsletter the previous week, but I'm always open to new topics. You all know what you can use the most help with, so please let me know. Happy to schedule things. So thank you all so much for joining me. Hope to see you again next Monday. Not sure what the time's going to be yet, but keep an eye on my newsletter. I send out a notice every Monday to my subscribers to let them know what time it is. Facebook and Instagram, sometimes we'll do it on the Sunday. I am at karaoke on Instagram. Let me put that in here. Instagram.com/karaoke. So I post stuff in there to let you know when the Monday night convos will be. And so you can also make sure you're subscribed to my newsletter, as I mentioned. Look for my book trailer coming out tomorrow. And thanks so much, everybody. Hope you had a good week. And I'll talk to you next Monday. Bye.